Well, good evening, welcome, and thank you so much for joining. Let me just do something here. Got the mic in place. Don't touch it. I thank those who are joining me. Thank you for those joining me on YouTube. Thanks for those joining me on Facebook. Thanks for those joining me on TikTok, and thanks for those joining me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube especially, much appreciated. Today is the 9th of the 8th, August 2025, and we have a very interesting show this evening. Thank you for those joining me on TikTok, Peter Gay, Peche, Annie. Tonight I'm going to have maybe a couple of different guests, because as you know that Jamaica is on the throes of an election, and hopefully I should have Uche on tonight, and I'm definitely going to have Professor Adisa as well. I'm talking about Miss Lou, and the interesting thing about that is that we were just on a show just a few days ago, and the show that we're talking about the power of the culture of Jamaica, and the powerful culture of Jamaica is very powerful. Professor Opal Palmer Adisa, she was on, and she's a prolific Jamaican writer, former university director of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies at the University of the West Indies, regional headquarters in Mona, with 26 published works, and a passionate cultural advocate and a conceptualizer, and CEO of the Louise Bennett Coverley Festival, deeply committed to fostering unity, empowerment, and a joy for life. Professor Adisa uses her voice and work to inspire change and celebrate the richness of her heritage. And her heritage is a heritage which is Jamaica. Michelle, good afternoon. Happy Saturday to you as well. Kerry, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for your support. I must say I appreciate you very much. Thank you for always showing up and having the discussion. Belinda, much appreciated. Thank you so much for showing up. Much appreciated. Much appreciated for everyone who comes on. Interesting that we're talking about the whole TikTok environment, and I find it very interesting because all of these platforms all interrelate now. All of these platforms are part of one now, and one of the interesting thing is that in light of it, we've got to ensure that we are using these platforms for edutainment. We use these platforms to educate and to inspire and to empower as much as possible. And I think one of the things that is going to come out of this election, when there's some reflection, there's going to be some reflection on the power of social media, reflection on the bloggers, because you got some very sharp guys in Jamaica who is on the ball when it comes on to this whole election, and they have been on it from different sides of the coins. But one thing for sure is that no political masters or political servants would ever be able to say that they underestimated the power of social media. The power of social media is there as much as possible. But before I go any further, I had the High Commissioner on my show last week. When I say tonight, yesterday I released the show, and I went to the High Commission and I had an interview with him, which was a really powerful interview, I must say. And it was very interesting, and it's out now, and everyone needs to watch it. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's always great when you can have a sit down with the Jamaica High Commissioner, because they represent the government, but also the work that they are doing within their diaspora. We're talking about Jamaica now, and I'm going to just play a little snippet of it before we get on into the whole thing. So let me see if I can play it. Yep, here we go. Here we go. Good afternoon. I'm honored to welcome His Excellency Alexander Williams, Jamaica High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, whose distinguished diplomatic service now guides a new era of partnership and engagement between Jamaica and its vibrant diaspora in the UK. Since his appointment in 2023, High Commissioner Williams, drawing on decades as a prominent attorney, parliamentarian, and community leader, has made community outreach, cultural ties, and diaspora engagement central pillars of his mission, building on the deep historical links between Jamaica and the UK that stretch back to the arrival of the Windrush generation. Today, we explore how the High Commissioner's efforts are shaping the trajectory and impact of the Jamaica diaspora, fostering pride, unity, and opportunity across generations. His Excellency's vision for collaboration, inclusivity, and cultural empowerment offers invaluable insights into the evolving role of Jamaicans abroad, the strengthening of cross-cultural identity, and ongoing initiatives that ensures the diaspora remains a dynamic force in both British and Jamaican society.
What if one building could replace your salary? Sounds wild, but I'll show you how.
What is?
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you and I introduce you, Mr. Alexander Williams, His
How are
Excellency.
you?
How are you, sir?
Silbert? How's everything?
Fantastic, fantastic.
Good, man.
It is 2023 when you came, and it's
Yes.
2025.
Yes.
We've been trying to get this going.
Yes.
Finally.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. Well, what is it like? What is it like since you've been here in the UK?
Well, first of all, I've been asked often enough,
Yes.
do I enjoy what I'm doing?
Okay.
And if you don't mind me putting a hell in front of the yes, I say, hell yes. I do enjoy what I'm doing. It is the mix of political, cultural, and economic engagements that I make on behalf of the Jamaican government, plus engaging the diaspora.
Yes.
And I'm not just the High Commissioner to the UK, it also includes Finland, Ireland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Cyprus.
Yes, yes.
And through the honorary consuls in those jurisdictions and my visits,
Yes.
I maintain contact with the diaspora in those jurisdictions.
And
trying to work.
Are they growing as well?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And working out their issues. Their issues may not only just be personal, but business issues as well.
Yes.
I try to facilitate cooperation and putting one commercial entity in, say, Sweden in touch with a Jamaican entity and so on to foster that kind of, supply ties and so on. And,
Yes.
so that is all part of it. So the rate at which we call back or inform persons who apply for their passport or their citizenship and all of that is really not at a place where we would like. To give you an idea, when we're answering one query on the phone, there'll be 200 missed calls.
And then people get
annoyed that that's right. You may have unanswered emails, sometimes running to the thousands.
Yes.
Because you don't have enough people tracking the emails to respond to the queries and so on, which has to do with not sufficient manpower, literally, because of the substantially increased demand. Now, what I can tell you, that we're taking steps now to mitigate all of these. Steps have been taken, and we're beginning to see improvement. Now, we're going to have to keep at it. We're going to have to, as best as possible, rely on technology.
Yes.
Certain technologies have been piloted in other missions to see how they're working. We don't know. It's been piloted, so I don't know how far along it is, and when we'll be able to utilize them. But that is the way we're going to have to go.
Well, I want to say that persons who are listening and in an well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a brief interview which a brief which I just played now of the interview I had with the High Commission of Jamaica, Mr. His Excellency Alexander Williams, and it's on YouTube. And I believe it is something that everyone should really watch. I think it's very important, and he really breaks it down, and it shows you are open on some aspects of the mission in the UK as well. And I think a lot of questions will be answered by lots of Jamaicans who are asking some questions. Good night, Phoenix, as well. Well, as I said, tonight I want to talk about Miss Lou. Everybody know Miss Lou. Everybody know Ring Ding. I remember as a little boy. I remember seeing Miss Lou on Marsh Rani, and remember little boy. Yeah, Saturday I think used to watch that, and it was something else as a young person growing up in Jamaica. We all used to watch Ring Ding and Miss Lou, and I've got tonight, as I mentioned earlier, I got Professor Adisa, Professor Opal Palmer Adisa, a prolific Jamaican writer and the former university director of the Institute for Gender Development Studies at the University of West Indies, regional headquarters, Mona, with 26 published works. She's a dedicated community agent, gender-based violence activist, and facilitator, and a passionate cultural advocate and the conceptualizing CEO of the Louise Bennett Coverley Festival, deeply committed to fostering unity, empowerment, and the joy of your life. Adisa used her voice and work to inspire change and celebrate the richness of heritage. But one of the reasons why I asked her to come back is because we're on Independence Night. I was with Steve Higgins, Rosemary Binder, Professor, and a couple other persons. And we're having a good time singing, and Hilangoli Ride, oh Hilangoli, and all these different songs, Deo. And it was a really interesting moment, and I'm sure she's gonna be talking about it. But I heard her at some point talking on some issues about Jamaica, and I said, no, I want to tap into that bit there. I didn't want to tap into it that night, but there's some political aspect there that I wanted to tap into. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Professor, and to talk about the Miss Louise Bennett show, which she's talking about. And without further ado, I'm going to bring her on the next moment. Yeah. Professor,
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me back so soon.
Yeah. A day didn't pass much, didn't it?
Right.
Well, listen. Thank you so much for coming on, Professor, for tonight. And I wanted to play something. My plan was to play this before you come in. I'm going to play it. I got it queued up, and here it is now.
Okay.
All right, sneak preview. Tell us, talk to us, Professor. Tell us everything now. What's going on?
So let me just give you a quick little background. In
Yes.
2019, when it was Miss Lou's centennial, I went to the Ministry of Culture and I said, we should celebrate 100 days for Miss Lou. And we did throughout the island, celebrated 100 days to celebrate her centennial. And it was after that event that I decided that I looked around and I knew that there was in Miami and Canada, their places festival for Miss Lou. And I was really surprised that Jamaica didn't have a festival for Miss Lou. And I thought, well, we should start one. So I started one. And I made a commitment then that I would do something every year for as long as I had the energy and the strength for Miss Lou. So in 2022, I did this publication, 100 Plus Voices for Miss Lou, in which I solicited work from 100 plus, what is actually 107, which is why it says 100 plus persons who knew Miss Lou, worked with Miss Lou, and people who were influenced by her. And so it is divided into 4 sections: poetry, tributes, interviews, and essays. And so I did that. And then last year I did, you're talking about Ring Ding.
Yes.
No one has done anything like Ring Ding since Miss Lou. And I think it's kind of shameful. I would love to do something like that. Anyway, so last year I did a short documentary, a 17-minute documentary on Ring Ding, having some children reenact some of the scenes, but primarily talking to 5 people who participated in Ring Ding about what they liked about it and what their memory of it is.
Can I be one of them?
Well, that was done already. We could do it again. There are many more people, and we certainly need to do it again.
Yeah.
And then the year before, which I'm still trying to get published, I did a coloring book and an activity book where there were pages, 30-odd pages of coloring book, and each of it had information about Miss Lou's birth, all of those kinds of stuff. And so this year, what you just previewed is the play that I've written for Miss Lou, which is called Miss Lou Still a Talk. And it's not just a tribute to Miss Lou, and it incorporates many of the proverbs she collected, and also incorporate a few of her poems, not the full poems, a verse, a stanza from maybe 5 poems. So it is a play that is looking on something that was dear to Miss Lou, our folklore. What does it mean in 2025? What is the folklore of Jamaica? How do we maintain that and celebrate that? And it is combined with not only the song says we have to shore up the culture and we have to take care of the environment. So, you come to Jamaica now and it's really shameful, the kind of trash and garbage and how people just discard things everywhere. And so I'm working to bring an awareness. There are other groups that have been working to sensitize and to bring back a sense of pride in Jamaica about not just throwing things wherever. So the play looks at folklore and it looks at the environment and our responsibility to it. And how do we maintain our culture? That culture is not just a fixed thing. It emerges and grows with people. And as we emerge and grow, there'll be new proverbs and sayings and idioms that come about, but that we have a responsibility to teach it to the next generation.
So tell us about let me just play this bit here. I'll just play something which I just found a while ago, and I hope it's okay. And it's here we go. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Fall but dirty tough. The ground is hard. We chose this poem because it is very relevant to the times now, though these verses were written many years ago. But dirty tough means not just that the ground is hard, but the times are hard. So it's rain or fall, but dirty tough. The rain is falling, but the ground is hard. And dirty is not just a corruption of the word dirty. It's a real African word, D-O-T, dirty, which means the ground, dirty tough. Sun a shine, but things not bright. Do a pot a boil, bickle not enough. River flood, rain a flood. Rain a fall, but dirty tough. Nowadays, the times so hard. When you ask Maddie how them do, them afraid you take it, tell them back, so them not answer you. Not hear how much we da work for hard times, still in our shot. We da fight, our time a beat we. They might raise the wages, but £1 gone and pound we pay, and we not feel no merriment. All
right, I'm gonna stop it right there. I stop it right there, just in case if there's a copyright issue. And just tell us about Miss Lou. Tell us about Miss Lou.
So if we listen to this poem, which was written in the late 60s, early 70s, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
This poem is like, it's very applicable today. Because if you understand what's going on in Jamaica, many people are still suffering. There is the sense, and Jamaica certainly has evolved in my lifetime. I see it. There's evidence of prosperity, lots of construction. But there are lots of people who are poor. There are lots of people who don't know where the next meal is coming from. There are lots of people who still can't afford medicine, who you know, if their children are sick, don't have the transportation to take their children to the hospital or the money to pay their children to the hospital. So end up staying in these crowded, underfunded and understaffed hospitals all day. So Miss Lou's poem, Dirty Tough, is very applicable today. And it is one of many poems that says to me that Miss Lou in many ways was prophetic. She understood not only the times, but she understood that the times were not over because of our political, economic, colonial system that still maintains today, despite our flag and our sense of independence. So when I read Miss Lou's poems, I see the relevance today, and which is why I am hoping the government will make her a national hero, because that's a place she deserves. She has earned it many times up. But I also want to make sure that the young generation, the Gen Zs and all the generations that come after, that they know Miss Lou's work and can say it and understand what she was about. There is so much evidence that Miss Lou loved Jamaica and Jamaica culture. She dedicated her life. She was a trained folklorist. She was the first Jamaican to go to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London. So she was also a trained actress and performer. She was a comic, you know, she was a songwriter. She occupied all of these roles. She taught at the university. She occupied all of these roles throughout her life. But what is the common denominator? The common denominator was ensuring that Jamaicanism, including our language, which we erroneously call Patois, we need to just discard that and say the Jamaican language. All of it was about collecting and preserving who we are as a people, because she understood that importance. And she was not recognized because of the work she did, the work for the so-called ordinary Jamaican. So Miss Lou is a phenomenal person. There is still so much to plumb from her work. There's still so much research that needs to happen about her work. More people needing to look at her work and analyze it. Mervyn Morris has done the major work on Miss Lou, but I want new scholars to come and rediscover Miss Lou and rediscover her relevance. She was a social commentator with her Auntie Roche said, you know, this is one of my favorite collections, and in the play, I have introduced the character Auntie Roche. Through her character Auntie Roche, Miss Lou had a radio program that lasted over 8 years. And almost weekly, she would be on the radio talking about some contemporary social event. She was definitely a commentator, a culturalist, what people would call a culturalist now. Miss Lou occupied that role. And so people just see her as someone who, you know, made you laugh and joke. And she did that. You know, Miss Lou was the first to nationalize pantomime. Her play, Queen's Daughter, was the first Jamaican play in the pantomime, because before that, all of the materials that they enacted were British, brought from abroad. And Miss Lou and Mas Rani changed that paradigm and made the shift Jamaica, so that from then on, all of the shows reflected Jamaican culture and Jamaican life and Jamaican reality.
And in Jamaica, for argument's sake, as you say, how things are, do you believe there's a sort of a separation of the cultural aspect of Miss Lou era, you know, what she represent and the message she was trying to bring with the youth of today?
I think there is. So here's the thing, you know, we have different classes in Jamaica.
Yes.
And those classes,
Upper North.
yes, and those classes represent different agenda. So when I go for funding from the Miss Lou Festival, which, you know, people say I shouldn't say it, but I want to say it. People say, oh yes, Miss Lou, Miss Lou. But, you know, last year I had to cancel the festival because I couldn't get funding. And I'm not talking about millions of, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, these reggae shows and all these other shows get hookah endorsement and funding. And people say they love Miss Lou, and I can't get funding to do a festival for the people, for the community. And for me, there's a disjuncture there. What it says is that people will give lip service to Miss Lou, but they won't support it. And I think that is because they're of two minds. They kind of love it, but Jamaicans still have this I hate to use the word bourgeois mentality. And, there's still people who are saying we don't have a language and is only uneducated speak like that, and we shouldn't be advocating Jamaican language as a second language. There have been scholars who have studied our language, understand that it's a mixture of Akan, Twi language from Ghana, and English and Spanish, right? We still do some words in Jamaica, like Miss Lou in that poem says, doti. Doti is from an Akan word. Nam is from an Akan word that means eat heartily. So we still have all these words in Jamaica, but still people up to last year. 3 years ago, we did a survey to say, should the Jamaican language become the national language with English? And we didn't get enough votes to pass it. And there's still debates and discussions on the radio that the Jamaican patois is not a real language, it's just a dialect, and we shouldn't be encouraging our children to speak it. There are still some private schools where if you speak that language, you are reprimanded and told that you don't speak Jamaican language.
That's bad. That's speaking bad.
That's speaking bad, right? So people will say they love Miss Lou, and there are many people who love Miss Lou. But we have not been able to get the government or the private sector to endorse and make this a national festival. And I think that's shameful. It should be a national festival, widely celebrated, announced well in advance so that the diaspora can come through. Because the goal of the festival is very simple, to preserve Jamaican culture. So we have a children's zone in which children learn poems and ditties and learn to tell stories. And then there's a festival with a wide array of entertainment that includes cultural stuff, including mento and, all of these things that I believe, even moving forward, Jamaica needs to maintain and keep going. So, that's my mission, and I'm going as long as I have breath. Miss Lou was very important to me. I had the pleasure of interviewing her twice in the 80s when I was doing my doctorate. Those tapes are one of the tapes is at the University of the West Indies in the West Indies section. I donated it to them. And my goal is to continue to do something every year. Something tangible. This year is a play. Last year it was a documentary. I'd like to get a journal going. And so anyone who wants to be a part of that, to see this a reality, you're running the tape along the bottom. And I thank you. Please join us in making this a reality. Miss Lou is a national treasure, and we never, ever allow that to be forgotten.
Can I just say, just like how you mentioned that everybody would say, yes, Miss Lou, but it's lip service. It doesn't follow through with a tangible thing. Also, I've been having these discussions on civics. And what I realize as well is, civics, it's a lip service thing, but it's not really like in the schools. And as what Miss Joan Simpson said, an aspect of it is recognized, but they don't want to go into the depths of actually these teaching people. As Marcus Garvey said in the book, read, so one can understand the riches of the universe also. Do you believe that there is a way that persons don't want people to be educated? Do you think there's a...
I am an educator. Here's what I will say.
Yes.
Unapologetically.
Yeah.
Our entire education system needs to be revamped.
Yes.
First of all, they're still teaching most of the things that they did 50 years ago when I was in school.
Yes.
There's no reason why any child in Jamaica, unless we're training them to be service industry, lower class service industry, should come out of primary school not being able to open a bank account and not being able to invest, and not know their culture. Civic is no longer taught in the school. So how are people going to feel proud about Jamaica? So people are still thinking about the only future they have is to leave abroad. And the middle and the rich class people, they don't send their children to the University of the West Indies. They would rather spend 4 or 5 times the money and send their children abroad. None of them send their children here. So the mentality still is of those who have, that we're not going to invest in Jamaica. We're going to send our children abroad, and they're going to work abroad and stay abroad, right? And so the school system here still supports a kind of colonial mentality that thinks people are going to be sitting in offices. Offices are going to be they should be obsolete now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We need to train I went to a school in St. Catherine during May, which is Reader Month. And the children could not name. They knew the fruits because they eat them still. Some of them still eat them. Middle-class children in Kingston don't. They want grape and American apples. They don't want guava. They don't want June plum. They don't want Otaheite apple. Those things do not in any way reach them at all. It's for the
Yes.
lower poor class. But the children were unable to name 5 plants or common flowers in Jamaica. One of which was in their schools, Bougainvillea.
Yes.
And I was just like aghast that they didn't know anything basic about their environment. So the education system has to change to teach children not just about ABC, because you can know your ABC, you could know your math 1, 2, 3, and if you
Yes.
know nothing about yourself, that is not going to help you. I believe what Marcus Garvey said. You have to know where you're coming from to know where you're going. And so
Yes.
these children are growing up. They barely know the national anthem because that is not said anymore in school. They can't name the Dr. Bird, the
Yes.
Lady Mighty. They can't recognize it. So we have to teach civic, but we have to make the education both relevant globally and relevant locally. So they know who they are and they know the Caribbean. There's no reason why Jamaica, which is 90 miles from Cuba, I don't care what their politics are, shouldn't be speaking Spanish, and Haiti, because we're very much a part of that revolution, speaking French. There's no reason why our children, because in Africa and in Europe, people speak 5 languages without problems, because the orientation, you see, the receptivity is there. And we can be there. We should all be trilingual. We should at least be speaking, quadringular, because we're speaking Jamaican, we're speaking English, we're speaking Spanish, and we're speaking French because of our neighbors. We know the things, essential things about Jamaica, history and culture. Not that the pirates of Port Royal, which is now the big thing. Why are you honoring people who sodomize and raped and enslave our people? Why are you
and making it into some sort of museum or some underneath the sea or something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was sunken because it was a place of debauchery and wickedness that violated every rules of humanity. So why are we doing that now, right? This is what I mean, is that our education system is skewed. We need to teach them about who we are. We need to know our fauna and our flowers and all of that stuff. We need to know our connection to the other Caribbean islands. And we need to know that we're part of the global world and how we can fit into the global society. So our children need to have skills. We don't need any more gardeners. We don't need any more people cleaning beds and stuff, because that's what 90% of the people who so-called benefit from the tourist industry cannot go to the outside world, with any other jobs, because the majority of the jobs are menial jobs. They're not getting computer training. We're not creating inventors. I went to a school and I said, what is it that Jamaica needs in the future? What can you invent? And the children look at me like I was talking a foreign language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to be thinking, what is this we need to invent? We're an island. If the world cut us off, what is it we need to survive?
That's a very powerful point there. And I'm just going to drop in one word, as your well-read lady. In light of what you're saying about education and about the dumbing down to a certain extent, artificial intelligence, do you think that helps?
I am debating artificial intelligence. I'm going to be very honest with you. I had avoided it and had not learned about it. My daughter came in February of this year and she says, Mommy, why aren't you using Chat GPT? And I said, I'm all right. I don't need Chat GPT, right? But anyway, she set me up and I started to use it. And
Yes.
before I didn't really start to use it until April. But she said to me, let's see what they knew, right? And so she plugged in my name and they came up with all this stuff about me, which I was like, oh my God. And it was so quick. So it is not going anywhere. I think we have to be very careful, because what it can do, because it sucks up from the rest of the world, what it can do is to eliminate people, I guess, the need for people, because it gets the information and it stores it and it can give it you back
Churn it out.
churn it out so quickly. I am flabbergasted. I truly
Yeah.
am flabbergasted. But it is also a medium that we need to master. The other day I went on to see if I wrote something and I said, turn this into Jamaican, the Jamaican patois. And they did. No, it wasn't perfect, but they did. I was totally flabbergasted. So I think it is something we cannot avoid. We need to study it more. We need to understand it more. We need to understand how it can manipulate and skew information and how we can use it to make sure our information is there and available.
Because my good friend is online on Instagram, and that's one of the reasons why I put that there, because we have been having some discussions on artificial intelligence, and in light of the fact that we are talking about like Miss Lou, we're talking about all these heroes and all these sort of foundational history of Jamaica, which are more prevalent, which is one that we need to, maybe we'll have to tap into artificial intelligence to somehow churn it out quickly. I'll use that word, churn it out quickly.
I think so. In fact, what I've been saying to students at the Edna Manley College and other people is that our children are glued to these phones. Nothing that they're looking at, none of these games are designed by Black people and specifically Caribbean people. And here is an opportunity to design games for this group that has our content.
Yes.
And with the technology, we can do that. So even the other day, I heard my neighbors playing the wheels on the bus go round and round, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what about some Caribbean rhymes, so the children can get into not just Jamaican, but we can bring the Caribbean to the world. That is where artificial intelligence and those people who understand the technology and can use it, that is where we can go with that kind of information.
No, that is very powerful. So tell us now about next week, Saturday and Sunday, and also you got
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. And you got also something in October as well.
Yeah. Listen, if you're in Jamaica, wherever you are, you need to come out. If you're in Montego Bay, St. Elizabeth, pack up a few of you and come out. So the play, Miss Lou Still a Talk, is a play for the entire family. It has songs, and I wrote the lyrics, and Fab Five, Frankie of Fab Five wrote the music, and it has been choreographed by a wonderful choreography. So there's music and singing, but more importantly, there are nuggets of our culture, our proverbs. There are a few stanzas of 5 of Miss Lou's poem. It starts at 7:00 at Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts, the Vera Moody Theatre. It is cheap. It's $1,000 for seniors and children and 2,000 Jamaican dollars for adults. So we kept it at the bare necessary, so people could say, Lord, me not have the money, me can't afford it. They can afford here and all kinds of stuff, but they can't afford culture. So please come on out next Friday, August 15th, and next Saturday, August 16th, 7 p.m. both nights at the Vera Moody Concert Hall at the Edna Manley College for the Performing Arts in Kingston. So it's right there, it's central, and we really need your support to come on out and just also to have fun.
Can I just ask this question? Just like the other day when there was this massive queue for Kentucky Fried Chicken, that hunger and that desire for what is there. What do you think can generate that hunger and desire for culture that persons will actually queue up? And you have to say to them, no, we have to do another show. We have to run this show 5 days a week. Backside. I was saying backside. This thing is too much. And then you might have to have a movement whereby this thing is so. What do you think can actually inspire?
Listen, let us put our heads together, because I want to know. I mean, I don't even understand this attraction to Kentucky Fried. I must admit, but at the franchise, those people are cleaning up money, because people will use their last money to go to Kentucky. People send, when people are traveling, I've seen people on the plane with buckets, because supposedly I was going to Trinidad and a friend said to me, bring me some Jamaica, Kentucky. I said, you must be kidding. I don't know what it is, but if we could generate that same kind of energy towards our culture, towards supporting our culture, towards promoting our culture, towards promoting the Miss Lou Festival, I would be, even like a quarter of that kind of energy and zeal. So if you know how, or we can brainstorm to figure out how to make that possible, I'm right there with you because I want to know.
But can I say that in cultures like the Israels and Israelites, the Jews and other countries, like when they come to the UK, no matter what, they have their communities and their culture is spread and deepened. And they don't shy away from it. You know who they are, what they are. And
And,
they
and listen, it's the same thing with the Chinese in California. They were after Jewish schools, so after the school, there would be a Jewish, you'd go to the Jewish, if you're a Jew, that's where you'd go. You'd go to the Chinese after school because you would learn about the culture and all of those things. Yes, that is exactly what we need. We need to have those kinds of cultural institutions where wherever you are in the diaspora, you come after school for an hour, 1 or 2 days a week, and you learn songs, you learn folklore, you learn what's good about Jamaica and why you should love and preserve Jamaica. That's how those other cultures do it. It doesn't happen by accident. It is a program. It's a
Yes.
systematic program where young children are forced by
You,
their
you,
parents to attend these events.
one of the guests here, they said these words.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll let you be there.
I have to call you back, please.
Yeah.
I'm on a, yeah.
Yeah. They are programmed. That's one there. They are programmed. And Michelle says also some addictive ingredients in it. Now, as we know, as we remember, television program, you read a program, the programming. And rightly as you said, it's a programming process. But that programming process, why everybody are calling out to the next string. Tell them, say, I'm here.
Listen, I thought I put my phone on off, but I just turned the volume down. And I have said, don't call me because I'm on the phone, and this person is totally insistent,
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. Yes.
You sure it's not Kentucky Fried Chicken trying?
No.
That's
No,
what-
it's not that at all.
yeah. Now the word programming factor has got to be something very intentional in a way. And it is just like I was thinking the other day about voting, whereby Jamaica had a 37% turnout to vote.
Was it
But
that
yet,
much? I thought it was 23%.
no, 37% was the last time, 1.92 million people, and 37% of that amount came out to vote. But you're right, it could be 27% of the population in the house still.
Right.
The key thing that I'm thinking is this: a way how, if people want a difference to be made, they also have to make a difference as well.
Exactly.
And it is, how do you mobilize and motivate the people? Now, for argument's sake, this program that you're having now, we've got to look at another way. Okay, let me just play this for a second while you're crossing that out. I'll just play this. Yeah.
We are temporary, we want to war up the culture. We are to war up the culture. Pastor, what's good about Jamaica? We are to war up the culture. They're not sure if you understand. Yes, we try and we know now. Everybody have a part. You is not sure that I'm influencer. We want to war up the cultures. That's the quarrel. And then shadow.
Okay, that is a sneak preview. Can I just ask, is that something that people in the diaspora can see?
It is, and I would love to take this. I would love to take this show all over. Really, it's a small cast. It's 2 men and 4 women, and as I said, it has song and dance in it because I realize that we are oral people, and if we get a rhythm, I can't just have a play that is talking to people. That's not how we process as Jamaica. We have to shore up the culture. Da, 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 da. I want people to leave the theater humming that song, and for it to then be implanted in their psyche subliminally, so that when they think about what is Jamaican culture, we have to shore up the culture, take what you know and teach it to the new generation, shore up the culture. Yes.
And then what about recording it? Is it something which is recorded as well?
Well, I am going to make sure that it is video recorded, so there will be that aspect of it, and then I have to figure out. I guess I could put it up on YouTube or something like that. But yes, it is going to be recorded for sure.
Yes, because I think the most important thing is that it gets out. It gets out, and hopefully what I'm seeing is a situation whereby Jamaicans all over will galvanize to it. And what you mentioned earlier about having a new, because ring ding was many years ago, but what stops it from something of a similar nature? What stops it from keep going with
A
different persons?
revitalization and a
Keeping the same-
re-emergence of
Yeah,
a new kind of ringing. But a
yeah,
ringing taught Jamaican children and showcased Jamaican children. So they sung, they danced, they had proverbs, they guessed me this riddle. It was preserving the culture, it was honoring the culture, it was giving our children voice so that they knew that they were purveyors of the culture. We have nothing, well, I don't say festival attempts to do that,
yes.
but we need it every day because there's so much that we're being fed through social media. We need something consistently to counterbalance that.
So therefore, what you need is an army of persons then who will feed this information through social media as well.
Absolutely. Yes. That's you hit the nail on the head.
Yes,
We need an
yeah,
army of people to constantly feed this information, re-look at it, reprocess it, and feed
yes,
it so that people know that
yes.
it's not the past, it is now, it's the present.
Yes, and as I say, as someone was saying, like you got the relay, you got the first, the second person, you got the third person, and the finisher. The finisher is like the Usain Bolt that finishes. So if it 12 guys, the last person is the one that has to take it forth. And someone was saying one time, each generation has got to start looking at themselves as the finishers.
Yes.
The
Thank
finishers.
you.
They can't look at it as to say, I'm gonna pass it on to somebody else. Because I always say this all the while, we should not be passing on our battles to our children. We should be allowing them to fight their battles, but we should be fighting the
Absolutely.
battles for them.
Right.
So really and truly, what we should be doing is to see ourselves as the finishers, in a
And this
sense.
is how I see myself. I
Yeah,
said, okay, people haven't done Miss Lou, people give lip service. I am going to do Miss Lou. I
yes,
am going to make sure her work is maintained. I'm going to make sure that this generation know about Auntie Roche and that Auntie Roche has something to say to them. I'm going to know that they can write and speak in a voice, in a Louise Bennett-esque voice. I'm going to know that Mervyn Morris has done tremendous work on Louise Bennett, and you need to read her selected poems because many of her poems are still valid today. That Miss Lou is Jamaican culture.
what would be so great, if you secure some sort of funding or whatever like that, and in October, Black History Month, like in the UK, in February, you got Black History Month in America, so you could start the process of thinking this down the road, and as I said, is something that I'll support. Um, Coming up to the UK and doing some road shows about Miss Lou, Black heritage for a lot of Jamaicans in the diaspora, a lot of Black people in the diaspora, a lot of Jamaicans. I mean, the discussion with the High Commission the other day, he gave the figure 830,000
Mhm.
Jamaicans in the UK. The Windrush factor as well. So therefore, think about that. There are a lot of children here in the UK who love the history, and somehow they sometimes feel a bit misplaced, not feeling
Mhm.
accepted. So
And
that's why
displaced. Yes,
yes.
yes.
So when they hear like of Jamaica, most of them say, "I'm Jamaican." I even know a Nigerian sister one time. She said she's Jamaican as well. They just want to maybe have a level of recognition and acceptance from a particular culture. And I believe this is something real well. I mean, I'm speaking to Steve Higgins as well about he's wanting to do something as well, and I believe this will be great. So my charge is October in the UK and February in the States for Black History Month. October Black History Month, and blah blah blah, and then let us see.
I'm ready. Let me know. I'll organize it. You know,
Yeah,
I'll organize an entire crew.
Yeah, no. Let's see if we can get some funding, because at the end of the day, we got to put. We can't keep saying yes, Miss Lou, but we got to put our money
Where our mouth is. Thank you.
So that's inspiring. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Professor Opal, Adisa, and ladies and gentlemen, make sure those in Jamaica, and I'll be sharing this bit as well, especially the clips about it. And I'm going to ask you just at the end to sort of do another promotion bit of it,
yes.
so I can actually cut it as well. But before I switch that, before I go to that bit, I want to talk about what's your take on Jamaica now in the political zone. You don't have to get
okay. So let me
I don't want to dry your tongue in. Trouble this girl.
You already draw the tongue. Okay, so let me say this. I am a bit sad. No, I am very saddened by the state of the politics. And I've spoken to people, including students at the university. And so many people are, I don't want to say nonchalant, but they don't feel invested in Jamaica. They see no reason to vote. And when I try to tell them that, adult suffrage is not that long, but they say, but I don't see no difference. First of all, the party politics that both politicians play is wrong, is immoral, and needs to be stopped. That if I am belong to one color or another color and I can't go into this neighborhood, or I wear the wrong color, that needs to stop. And that is a manipulation that the prominent, educated people have done to the masses of Jamaica. And that needs to stop. So categorically, unapologetically, that needs to stop. There has been no education for the people of Jamaica about what is the real reality of Jamaica. Nowadays, we're getting a lot of stuff about what was accomplished and what was not accomplished, and who accomplished this and who accomplished that. And the fact is that you need to stop buying people's vote. And that still happens by both parties. You need to stop buying people's vote and making promise. And of course, the people need to hold our Jamaican politicians accountable. We vote them in, we complain, but we do not hold them accountable, and we need to hold them accountable. And our people need to be educated to think and to critically analyze what has been done and what hasn't been done, disregard all of the rhetoric and the programming, and to say, what have you really done? How has my life and the life of my community been improved or not improved? And what does Jamaica need for Jamaica? Yes, I know we need foreign investment, but is the foreign investment really benefiting us, or is it just benefiting those who are coming in? Are we selling off our country so that our children and our grandchildren won't be able to inherit it? Are we building a society so the man on the street, the little woman on the street can be educated? Do you know how many people are illiterate in Jamaica? Because we used to have a program, Jamal, that was educated.
Yes.
We don't have anything like that anymore. And I live now in a rural community in Linstead, and I'm appalled at the number of people who can barely read. The farmers. So they get all of this stuff to feed their chickens and to put in the soil, which are chemicals, because nobody has educated them. They're telling them, oh, it's good for you. Yeah, it will make your crops grow, but it's killing you in the process, and it is damaging your soil. And that is a result of uneducation. People who are not educated to read, people who are not educated to think critically. Our school system is still about rote. You memorize something and you don't question it. How dare you question the teacher? How dare you question what you're being told? So we have to, it goes back to the fundamental. We have to upgrade the educational system and make it be applicable to Jamaican and global at the same time. And it doesn't require longer hours. In fact, those places that are at the top of the line, Germany and the Netherlands, they've reduced school hours and they're creating a new school system, which is something I've advocated for the last 20 years, that children learn by doing. They don't need to be sitting in a classroom neatly with their hands on their laps memorizing stuff. Yeah, there's some things they have to memorize. I still know my timetables and it comes in handy. I don't need to use a computer.
Yes.
You know, so there's still things we have to memorize. But to think critically outside the box, you know, to think about what are these rules? Are these rules relevant? Are they applicable? The other day I went to some place at the university and there was chairs outside, right? An iron table with chairs. And the guard says, "Ma'am, you can't eat there." I said, "But why can't I eat here? It's outside and I want," you know what I mean? But he was told that. So and people need to say, "But why is this rule there? Is this rule applicable? Why can't people sit down outside to enjoy their lunch when there is a space outside with a chair and a table to do that? Who made this rule and is this rule applicable?" So people are not thinking about that. You go into these government offices and I have to grit my teeth and say, be patient, because you go from one office or section to the next and they're not speaking to each other. You know? It's like, hello, we have computers. So my information that I got at window 1 and I'm now at window 3 to do something similar, I shouldn't have to be telling you the same information. So critical thinking is lacking. And there's a high level of illiteracy, and there are even children exiting secondary school who are reading not even at the third.
Yes, I've been hearing that one as well.
And we should be grossly embarrassed by that, and we should be doing everything to make sure that that does not continue.
It is. I hear what you're saying, and so one of the things I say that, you know, the outcome of the election, either way or whatever like that, there's got to be some sort of shifting, because at present it can't happen because people are divided. You know, the whole essence of it is creating a level of division. And after every election, the first thing at this inauguration will be, we need to come together, we need to work together, everybody needs to go. And there's another level of lip service until you get into the throes of the politics and the garden house, and then all of a sudden that division start up again. And you're right about the point where you mentioned about colors. I'm a person who's a stickler, saying, just come together, parties, and just say, away with these colors, man, because it is so tribalistic. And people
it's
say,
tribalistic, it's vicious. You know, let's look at what are the ideas. What is it that needs to happen? And let's look at that and not pit people against each other. And the unfortunate thing is, you know, those
I use the word weaponizing people against each other.
That's an excellent word. It is weaponizing them. And you know what I say to them, you know, you can say whatever you want, but those people in politics, they're dying together, their children go to the same school, you know.
Godfathers and godmothers of the same church.
Okay? And you and I fighting both color and this and that. And them sitting down at some fancy hotel and having a good time. But yes, we have to call that out. We have to make them accountable. But mostly we have to educate our people continuously. Continuously. And I think the diaspora has a big role in this. And I'm not sure quite how to play it, because again, you know, we're pitted against each other. Oh, you live a foreign, so you can come with all your things. You know, this again.
I get that a lot of times. Go and sort out your government in the UK and leave you alone. I get that all the while when I talk on issues regarding Jamaica. You know.
Yeah.
But without a doubt, I always say that an effective partnership between Jamaica and the diaspora will become very potent.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Know, when there's a collaboration and there's a working together and there's not someone like to sort of separate, you know. So when persons say anything to me, I always say, listen, we come from Ochi, straight out of yard, straight out of Ochiers.
And so let's look at the matter one people. Hello, we don't matter where we are. But yes, I think if that thread could be knotted so that
Yeah.
we understand that there's collaboration. Now, of course, Jamaica would not have survived, as you and I very well know, if the diaspora wasn't supporting it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If people from England and Canada and America wasn't sending money, there are many people who would have been dead.
Especially during COVID. Yeah.
Yes, okay? And
Mm.
so there's a whole generation of barrel children and barrel people because people send. And so, but we don't want to hear what they're saying. We just want them to send things because, again,
Yes.
it's, oh, no live over there, oh, no have privilege, blah, blah, blah. What are they talking about? What's going on here? But there needs to be that dialogue, that continuous dialogue between the diaspora and Jamaica, because I think it will be very dynamic and very potent. And it will take us to the next level where we are overdue reaching.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, and I'll be doing some discussions leading up to the election once the election is called, and I'll be doing a election watch night. So I may call in at some point to do some analysis at the same time during the course of the election period. What I want you to do is just sort of
Big up the show, yes.
yeah,
So I
big up the
want
show.
every. In fact, you could fly down and come see the show, but no,
Yes,
you're going
yes,
to bring it up there, right? Okay.
yes.
So Miss Lou Still a Talk is a dramatic family fun production that will be at the Edna Manley College for the Visual Arts, the Vera Moody Hall Theatre, Friday, August 15th and Saturday, August 16th at 7 p.m. promptly. And it's a show that includes music and dance and drama, and that celebrates Miss Lou and celebrates Jamaica culture and celebrates the environment. So please come on out, tell your friends, bring your family, everybody. It's only $1,000 for children and 2,000 Jamaican dollars for adults. So it's very affordable, more affordable than KFC.
I was about to say, and there's going to be a hunger and thirst for culture, just like how, and even better than how the hunger and thirst for
Exactly. There should be a hunger and thirst for culture, like there's a hunger and thirst for some of these fast food places. So please come on out and see Miss Lou Still a Talk, hear what Miss Lou is talking about. Meet Angie Roche and the newer Nancy. Meet Shadow and Not True That and Gone Already and Miss Influencer. They're all a part of the show and they're talking about Jamaica culture. They are proverbs and idioms that are very much Jamaica. There's some poetry from Miss Lou. There's some new songs that I have written with Fab Five and Frankie.
Okay.
So come on out. Miss Lou Still a Talk, Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. in Jamaica, Kingston, at the Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it, and you'll see the numbers which is running below. And make sure you turn out, as we are going to be relaunching Ring Ding, and Professor Opal will be doing a tour to the UK in Black History Month, October, and then flying over to the USA Black History Month in February, in a way, and reaching out to the Jamaican diaspora. So people
What is
there.
happening in Germany? I have to speak to Rosie. What is, do they have?
Well, Germany's up to something as well, because as Rosemary's there building up that German diaspora over there with the other ladies which was on the show that night, and right now they're in Germany because Doug is over there, the Senna, Doug Gore from the racing. He's there with his son Tommy. I've been following them because we're linking together. They're having some racing over there. So as a guy, when the racing was going on, he said, and Jamaica's come around the corner, Jamaica to the world. So there's a massive Jamaican, and as the High Commission said earlier, he said he's responsible for Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and a couple other countries. So the Jamaicans are building up over there. Jamaicans are also in the Middle East. I know one guy. I was trying to get him on. He's in one of those places there, and I know a couple of persons are planning to go over. I've got some contract to go into either Dubai or whatever like that. So what you see right there are Jamaicans who are going to feel homesick, and when these things come there, they're going to love it. And I believe that somehow with these areas and these countries, I wouldn't be surprised if the powers that be that bring these people up, because money is not an issue when those guys try to get Jamaicans over there to teach and so like that. Something could happen. And if we don't ask, Professor, we don't get.
That's right. The African proverb says a closed mouth don't get fed.
Exactly. Exactly.
And we have such amazing entertainers. I just want to say thanks to my cast because all of them work. So we never get to rehearse until after work, 6 to 10 o'clock at night. And so these are people who are committed to their craft and committed to spreading the culture, but have to work full time in order to do it. And so they deserve support, and I thank them for their willingness to make this a reality.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, much appreciated, and thanks for those who were on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, and as well, people will be able to see it on the replay as well. And I'll do a little magic with what I wanted, what you said, so I can do a little magic with it when I cut it out to do a little promotion as well for yourself leading up to next week, Friday and Saturday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So thank you very much, and all the best, Professor. And
big up the culture.
Big up the culture, and tell them so they can call the phone now.
All right.
They can ring off your celly.
Thank you so much. Blessings. Have a good one. Walk good, as you used to say.
Thank you very much, and I'll just play it out with that piece there from the rehearsal, if that's okay.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there we are. We just had the discussion with Professor Opal Adisa, and talking about this very interesting event. Support the Louise Bennett Coverley Festival, and you can reach out to it at Louise Bennett Coverley Festival at gmail.com. It is running across, and I just believe that I see the vision. I see the vision whereby Jamaicans overseas want to reach out to Jamaicans within the diaspora in different areas where they are, because Jamaicans sometimes feel a bit homesick, and somehow the culture, I believe the culture is so important. Just like how people will get hunger and thirst for Kentucky Fried Chicken, what can inspire persons to be hungry and thirsty for culture, hungry and thirsty for education, hungry and thirsty for critical thinking as well, hungry and thirsty for civics? At this time, I believe it is so important. I believe it is so crucial and leading us into this election. As a matter of fact, one of the interesting bits that came out, which I saw today, was that which country it is? Which country has removed the oath of office for yes. Who sent it to me? Deanne sent it to me. Yeah. Deanne Crossfield. Yep. Grenada dropped the oath. Yes, this is it. Grenada drops oath of allegiance to King Charles. Yeah? The new oath of allegiance will be pledged to Grenada and not to King Charles III. His heirs or successors. Grenada has officially dropped the oath of allegiance to King Charles III. The new change means state officials will no longer take oath of allegiance to King Charles, his heirs, and successors. Inside the oath of allegiance will be to the Caribbean country itself. Why is Jamaica behind with all these things? Jamaica is behind Barbados with, become a republic, even though, as some people say, it was a fake republic still. But nevertheless, why Jamaica is behind? Jamaica is behind again in this one. The Constitution, the Oath of Allegiance, Amendment Number 1, Bill 2025, orders to change the Oath of Allegiance from His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, to Grenada. The amendment scheduled 3 to the Constitution reads as follows. Schedule 3 to the Constitution in the Oath of Allegiance is amended by deleting the words His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and the successors, and substituting therefore the word Grenada in relation to the following provisions of the Constitution. Wow. Section 20, Governor General taking oath. Oh, is still going to be a Governor General? Let me show that. Members of the House of Parliament taking oath. Section 65, Ministers of Parliament Secretaries taking oath. Section 95.1, Citizens by Marriage taking oath. And Section 98, Citizens by Marriage taking oath. So therefore, there we go. Grenada has decided to remove the king as to give allegiance. Because I remember one MP and one senator one time said to me, it hurt them art hurt. And I said, boy, I'm art hurt, Jamaican, when they have to swear. It was the late Delana Franklin who said it to me. It hurt them when they have to swear allegiance to the king, swear allegiance to the queen at that time, to the monarch. And I think these changes need to be done. So rightfully, whenever the election is over, whosoever wins the election, whether it's Andrew Holness or whether it is Mark Golden, they need to deal with this whole thing with constitution reform properly, not just doing it quickly. I don't believe in the quick one. I don't believe in the quick fix one. Even the one with Grenada, even though I said it, I'll have to do some more research, because it could be that the Governor General is still there as a representative of the king, as well. I don't know. We will see what happens there. And not to be like Barbados, whereby it is a ceremonial thing. It's got to be an executive president. It's got to be someone that the people vote for, not someone where the prime minister again have that power to appoint someone. What if one government or so gets 50 people in there to be members of parliament, or 40 or 45 or so, and then therefore they're going to have the full reign to put in someone to their liking. So the people need to be able to vote, just like in America, and but sometimes people say, well, silver in America is not working. But but just because you have a bad day, that don't mean say every day is bad. A bad day doesn't mean say every day is bad. You know what I mean? So without further ado, I'm not going to stay long. I'm going to TikTok all you guys. I just pop over there as well. But I was hoping for Uche to come to talk about Jamaican politics, but I think I'll just keep that on hold for now until the election is called. Because once the election is called, one of the things that I'm going to be doing, I'll be speaking to different persons, is to have some, not nightly, but at least 3 or 4 times per week, having these discussions about the manifesto and hear what the manifestos are saying. And to get some scholars or so from Jamaica who know the history of the political landscape to come on, and as well to talk about what is it that Jamaicans need to see, not what I want to see, but what Jamaicans want to see, to wake up Jamaicans to see what they want to see as a future for Jamaica. And election night, who knows? I may have to call it before Cliff Hughes, because these guys like to call it. I call it for PNP, I call it for JLP. Well, I'm going to go on that night, election night. I believe they say it's going to be either the Monday the 1st of September, or it's going to be the 3rd of September, Monday the 1st or Wednesday the 3rd. And I'll be up late that night and with some guests and so on. We'll be going through it and follow it up after the votes are counted. So it's going to be a late night as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, George, for coming on. Those on YouTube, thank you. Remember to like and subscribe and to share, and keep subscribing. Subscription is going up. I can see that. And for those who are on Instagram, official Travis Pretty Patel. There's a Pretty Patel. It's not Pretty Patel. M. Ramsey, John Fish, Sir Fisher, Bumi, Marcus Walters. Thank you so much for coming on, and for Facebook as well. And especially as well on YouTube. So without further ado, all the best, and may God bless you. May God keep you, and may his face shine upon you, and may he give you wonderful peace and sleep.